Is your organisation primed for the transformative journey into generative AI? Well, in an era where artificial intelligence is no longer a distant marvel, but rapidly becoming a close ally, enterprises across the globe are evaluating their readiness to embrace this technological leap. And joining me today is Sanjay Jain. He is the Chief Business Transformation Officer at WNS, and they are a leading light in business process management solutions. But I've invited him on today to leverage his insights from the comprehensive survey conducted by WNS and the Everest Group that recently set off my tech spidey sensors. And it's my hope that today we're going to shed light on the pivotal aspects of enterprise readiness for generative AI implementation, because as industries grapple with the challenges of technology, data, process and people readiness, I want to explore the sectors leading this charge, the strategic moves to combat talent shortages, and also the paramount importance of ethical AI use and responsible AI. So Sanjay's insights promise to unravel the complexities and also herald a future where generative AI is not just adopted, but is integral to enhancing customer experiences and operational efficiencies across vast sectors. But before we get today's guest on, I need to pay the bills. We've got a huge podcast hosting fee to pay for when we're releasing 30 episodes a month. And this month, I've partnered with a company called Kiteworks. Now, legacy MFT tools are dated and lack the security that today's remote workforce demands. So companies that continue relying on outdated technology, though, they put their sensitive data at risk. And in a world where digital threats evolve daily, the need for a secure, modern solution has never been more pressing. Well, enter Kiteworks, the beacon of security and efficiency in managed file transfer. And Kiteworks isn't just any MFT solution. With its FedRAMP moderate authorization awarded by the Department of Defense since 2017, Kiteworks sets a new standard for security. And this certification is not just a badge, it's a promise of unparalleled protection for your data, offering a fast track to CMMC compliance and eliminating some of those cumbersome, costly DIY authorization processes that plague so many of the alternatives out there. So please, step into the future of managed file transfer with Kiteworks. You can find out more information at kiteworks.com to get started. That's kiteworks.com to get you started today. So buckle up and hold on tight as I beam your ears all the way to Mumbai in India, where today's guest is waiting to share his story. So a massive warm welcome to the show, Sanjay. Can you tell everyone listening a little about who you are and what you do?
Neil, thank you for inviting me to your show. And I am the Chief Business Transformation Officer of WNS. And in my current role, I'm responsible for ensuring that all of our client businesses that we manage for them are transformed with the right, use of process innovation, technology interventions, and analytics. And been with WNS now almost 20 years. Prior to WNS, I was actually a serial entrepreneur. I had set up, 3 fairly successful, firms which got sold. And then early on, I started my career with a company called CMC in a typical, program management, system architect role, delivering, very well-known mission-critical applications. And from an education perspective, I'm a electronics and communication engineer, Neil.
Fantastic. Well, it's a pleasure to have you join me on the show today. And there's so much I want to talk with you about because at the moment, everyone's going crazy about generative AI. They have done for the last 18 months. But what we're seeing now is people now know how it works and they're starting to get over their maybe fear or apprehension about it and exploring how they can use it in their business. And one of the things that put you on my radar was a recent survey you did on generative AI in, I think it was a CXM survey supported by WNS. But can you tell everyone listening a little about that survey and also how it indicated a significant level of readiness for generative AI implementation among enterprises? And from your perspective, what factors are driving this readiness? How does it vary across industries? Because there's so many great insights in that survey, isn't there?
Yeah. So let me a quick brief on the survey. It was done in collaboration with Everest, and about 200 organizations were surveyed around various aspects of adoption, readiness, utilization, risks, types of things. And, we got some fairly insightful outcomes as part of the survey, which interestingly correlates with what we are seeing actually on the ground, because WNS has been deploying many use cases in last, 12 months, across the industry segments that we work with. And, interestingly, what, the survey told us is, correlates very well with, our experience of deploying this solution. So, as I said, based on our experience of deploying these multiple GenAI powered solutions, broadly, 4 key factors are driving enterprise readiness for generative AI implementations. And these are, the first is actually the technology readiness. So, which includes availability of adequate computing power, ability to scale on demand, and cloud-based infrastructure capacity. The second is data readiness of the organization, which basically includes the capability in data extraction, data storage, data privacy, data security, and very importantly, availability of sufficient and high-quality training data, which is actually needed for the AI models to work very effectively. The third is process readiness. And, considering that we are focusing around the customer services or CX processes, in order to take full advantage of the GenAI on the CX processes, the relevant CX processes actually needs to be reimagined or re-engineered so that humans and AI can work together as co-pilots and deliver the business outcome for the clients. And in addition, there are regulatory and compliance issues that needs to be addressed in the future process design. And finally, there is people readiness. As we are, developing and deploying GenAI-based solutions, organization basically requires skill sets across multiple types of skills. And these includes design thinking skills to allow the reimagination of the CX processes. It includes the traditional AI, ML, and data science capabilities to curate the data before it is sent to an AI model. And also, very importantly, software and hyper-automation skills to develop and deploy GenAI-enabled applications. What we also found that in addition to these 4, top factors, there are certain additional factors that are also very important, which are driving the organizational readiness for deploying GenAI. The first is, the financial readiness. Do they have financial, readiness to deploy such kind of solutions? Also, these solutions require significant changes in the way the operating model work and process model works. So what's been the traditional change management competencies of the organization? And then finally, if organizations have past experience with transformative technologies, they are better prepared to deal with these kind of challenges. And, what the survey found is that, the factors vary across the industry segments. But importantly, technology and telecom industries were more ready for deploying GenAI solutions, followed by BFSI, healthcare, and retail.
And one of the big standouts of that survey, for me, one of the big standout stats was that I think it was something like over 45% of enterprises are currently citing a shortage of internal technical expertise as a major barrier. And I'm also reading outside of that survey that there's almost a big AI talent war out there with every business, every startup desperately trying to hoover up all that AI talent to realize their ambitions. So how do you see companies overcoming that challenge to harness that full potential of generative AI? Because you need people to make that happen, right?
You're right. Absolutely. As I indicated earlier, as you deploy, and think through the GenAI, solutions, for an organization, there are multiple types of capabilities and skills that are required to reimagine, design, build, deploy, and then finally support GenAI applications, right? So for organizations, who are lagging in their AI adoption readiness, particularly in terms of technology and data that you talked about, but also on process and people readiness, a good strategy would be to seek out collaborative partnerships with third parties, and then use those third parties to co-create such solutions. And this actually, if organizations follow this approach, they can actually, it can enable them to tap into external expertise on demand and then accelerate their GenAI adoption roadmaps. And this is what actually WNS has done, very successfully with many of our clients, where we have helped them to, one, identify what kind of business problem that they want to solve using GenAI. And then we have worked very collaboratively with them and co-created, these solutions where we have partnered with them, either providing skills that they did not have or augmenting skills that they may already have and needed more of it. and delivering multiple, Gen AI solutions with a very, very clear focus on achieving measurable business benefits, right? And at this point of time, in last, 12, 18 months, we have now either deployed or are developing about 90 use cases across the industry segments and multiple clients that we work with, Neil.
And I think this year, the transformative potential of generative AI's text generation capabilities has been widely recognised, particularly in areas such as telecom and media, tech and retail sectors. But for any business leader that is sat on the sidelines knowing what they need to do, but just needs some examples of that maybe bring those possibilities to life. Do you have any examples that you're able to share that would just bring those capabilities to life and help business leaders listening understand how they're being applied and will ultimately revolutionise their CXM operations?
You're right, Neil. Approximately 93% of the survey participants recognize the transformative potential of generative AI's, text generation capabilities, specifically in the CX operations. While there are multiple such use cases, but there are maybe 4 examples that I want to talk about. The most common use case is to enhance customer service capabilities. Now, providing instant and accurate and tailored responses to the queries. The second is, hyper-personalization is also another example. So many companies across industry segments are leveraging data and generative AI to deliver personalized and more relevant recommendations in real time as their agents service their clients. Cognitive and contextual summarization of large sets of unstructured data is another such use case, which finds a significant adoption across industry segments. And then finally, supporting creation and access of knowledge management databases is another use case. What generative AI can do, it can automatically summarize documents, categorize information, and even generate new content to keep knowledge bases fresh and relevant, which then are used in the CX processes by the companies and their, employees servicing end clients to intelligently query or prompt and get very relevant and hyper-personalized answers to deal with the, customer situation that they may be solving.
And the survey also revealed varied AI adoption readiness across multiple industries. And for me, that highlighted the differences in technology and data preparedness among so many other different factors. And again, for anybody listening, are there any strategies that you would recommend for industries that may be lagging in readiness and currently playing catch-up? Any strategies you'd recommend there?
Yeah, the survey basically, indicated that, there are, a variety of, readiness, across industry segments, so what basically the survey found is that telecom and technology industries are actually leading in their Gen AI adoption, followed by BFSI, healthcare and retail. And if you look at the telecom, technology and the media industry, which sort of are leading this, this sector by nature is extremely well equipped for embracing new technologies due to their existing technology frameworks, their employee skill sets, and their ongoing and continuous focus on customized and providing, very customized and personalized services to their clients. And these sectors have always had prior experience of, using transformative technologies, right? And that's the reason I think they are leading, and that's what the survey indicated. But I think the 2 key factors that other industry segments can learn from telecom, technology and media sectors is one is their change management maturity. So these organizations have, invested a lot in change management maturity, and their technology readiness is also far superior, including infrastructure and availability of high quality of data, which is again an important prerequisite for deploying Gen AI solutions.
Completely agree with you. The other thing we have to bring up whenever we mention AI are things like regulatory compliance issues. They're also noted as significant challenges, especially in the BFSI and healthcare sectors, for example. And there's also a lot of debates around the ethics and responsible AI as well. So I know there's a lot of business leaders that this scares them a little bit. I think in some ways that has prevented them from just diving straight in. So how do you suggest that enterprises navigate those regulatory landscapes while also pursuing those Gen AI innovations?
Yeah, so data privacy and regulatory compliance remain a prominent challenge in financial services and healthcare industries. And hence, the Gen AI-enabled processes in these industries will require a human-centric approach. with humans and AI working together as co-pilots and allowing for a human oversight to ensure control, compliance, accuracy, and effectiveness. These industries, one, because of regulatory nature of, regulated nature of their business, and two, because of the complex nature of the transactions, it is appropriate for them to use a co-pilot approach instead of, letting a AI-based chatbot deal with that complexity, right? So these sectors also need to develop a comprehensive governance framework that covers, the issues that you talked about, like ethical, privacy, security, legal, regulatory, obviously, and also to some extent social issues, right? And some steps that, can be taken to mitigate these issues can include, things like controlling the type of data that is sent into an AI model, implementing access controls on who has access to these AI models. And then finally, and very importantly, implementing a continuous monitoring mechanism to evaluate the output and outcomes being delivered from generative AI and uses evaluations to further enhance the controls on the input content, access, and training of the generative AI models.
And if we were to zoom out, given all of the survey's insights and everything you learned from them, how does the WNS envision the future of Gen AI in enhancing business process management solutions? And ultimately, what role do you see WNS playing in this evolving ecosystem?
So as we discussed earlier, Neil, many of the organizations don't have internal capabilities to deploy these solutions, and we are an active partner helping many of our clients deliver, this Gen AI solutions. But, we at WNS believe in democratizing the use of Gen AI. And also, very importantly, democratizing the use of Gen AI within the constraints of data privacy and security, because that's a prime, mover, right? Yeah. So with this as an operating philosophy, we have adopted a three-pronged approach to support the evolving ecosystems in the business process management field that we work and the client base that we work with. The first is capability build, focused on skills required in our workforce to design, build, deploy, and support Gen AI-enabled solutions. And as I mentioned earlier, these skills include AI, ML, and data scientists, software and hyperautomation skills, cloud infrastructure capabilities, security and privacy expertise, right? The second is solutions build. So, once we have the capability, then we have to build solutions. And the focus is on reimagining our clients' business processes and then co-creating new solutions and services with them that will allow our clients to utilize the full power of Gen AI with humans and AI working as co-pilots. And the third is a market positioning to create an integrated go-to-market strategy, combining Gen AI with other digital technologies to maximize business value proposition.
Very exciting times ahead. And of course, in those months ahead, I think we can all safely predict enterprises will continue to explore Gen AI for a variety of use cases. But as someone that's right in the heart of this space, armed with that future mindset and listening to so many business leaders around the world, are there any other long-term impacts that you anticipate on customer experiences and indeed operational efficiencies? And again, any advice on how companies should maybe be preparing for these changes right now?
So generative AI has the potential to revolutionize CX operations by addressing three dimensions of efficiency, effectiveness, and customer impact. Now, these technologies, enhance operational efficiencies. They also improve productivity of the workforce, and which actually leads to a significant cost reduction. So that's a gain and benefit that organizations will realize as they deploy Gen AI solution. The second, as I said, effectiveness. Gen AI also allows the workforce to be very effective because it allows them to analyze the customer data, to hyper-personalize interactions and provide more relevant recommendations, thus delivering significant customer impact in terms of improved customer satisfaction, improved NPSs or other customer measures that the organization may have. So enterprise, who really want to adopt Gen AI must plan for and address a variety of challenges across technology, data, people, processes, and very importantly, change management. And they must also ensure that the Gen AI applications that they are building basically tick this 5 check boxes. And these are that the applications must be unbiased and accurate. They must be safe and secure. They must be honest and appropriately trained. They must be empowering and democratized. And finally, sustainable.
One of the things that attracted me to you guys is that WNS has got this reputation for combining industry knowledge with technology, with analytics and process expertise to help co-create innovative, digitally led transformational solutions around the world. But before I let you go, I'd love to dig a little bit deeper on your personal story and find out how you've been able to play such a huge part in this. And of course, if any of us look back at our career, none of us are able to achieve any degree of success without maybe a little help along the way. So I'm curious, has there been a particular company, institute, or something that you're grateful towards, which maybe helped you get where you are and helped you play that role that you play at WNS?
Yeah, Neil, obviously, in a long career that I've had, there are multiple people who influenced me, who helped me. But I think what I want to talk about is the exposure and experience I got in the first company that I worked for. It was a company called CMC. It doesn't exist in the current, in a shape and form today because it got acquired by a tier 1 system integrator. That company, bred entrepreneurs. We were taught in that company that no idea is a bad idea. And we are only limited in our understanding of the use of that idea at that point of time, right? So, and that's been operating philosophy that I have had in my career. Curiosity never killed the cat in that firm. We were always encouraged to innovate, and it was okay to fail, as long as we were learning from those failures. And again, I can go on and on about the learning, the 8 years that I spent in that company, but I owe a lot to, career that I've had, after I left the company as an entrepreneur, for a few years, and then obviously what I've been doing at WNS for many years now.
It's so important to hear stories like that and how they shape us all as individuals and the work we're doing now and both in the future. And for anyone listening that wants to find out more information, maybe explore the report that we've referenced today, or just find out more about yourself, your team at WNS, the work that you're doing, is there anywhere in particular you'd like to point everyone listening?
Yes, absolutely. So there's a lot of, articles, white papers, knowledge, where available on wns.com, which is our website. You can also refer to our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Instagram. And then obviously, I'm on LinkedIn, fairly active on LinkedIn. So, audience can actually look at my LinkedIn profile, and if they need to connect with me, it's, that's the place to connect with me. I'm happy to answer questions. WNS is a very active, technology, digital, Gen AI, portfolio, and we publish a lot on the social media. So you'll be able, audience will be able to find a lot of content on some of these handles that I talked about.
Fantastic. Well, I will have links to all those things, including a link to that Everest Group's Generative AI in CXM survey report that's supported by WNS. I'll put a link there. So much I love talking with you about today, in particular digging deep on that survey that highlighted some of those greatest barriers to success for Gen AI adoption, but most importantly, that willingness to adopt the technology for so many different use cases. So more than anything, just a big thank you for taking the time to sit down with me and share some of those stories. And I really hope that they have helped some business leaders listening around the world. But thank you, Sanjay.
Thank you, Neil. The pleasure was all mine. You had very thought-provoking questions, and, it was, pleasure to answer them. Hopefully I did a good justice to be able to answer those questions, but thank you for this opportunity.
Wow, what an incredible guy. And after our conversation, I'm left with a profound understanding of the landscape of generative AI readiness amongst enterprises. I've heard so many stories over the last 18 months. Some were in denial for a certain amount of time. Others were very, very nervous about what happens to company data in machine learning language models. And many were concerned about regulation. Many just sat on the sidelines. But I think that has gone now. And the insights from the WNS and Everest Group survey, they illuminate a path forward. They highlight the critical elements of technology, data, process, and how people will dictate the pace of success of generative AI integration. It's not AI taking over. It's people and AI collaborating with one another, not competing. And also, I think Sanjay's expert analysis underscores that importance of strategic partnerships, ethical consideration, a human-centric approach to navigating some of the challenges and those fantastic opportunities that lie ahead. But as industries continue to evolve and adapt to this technological renaissance of sorts, I think it's clear that Gen AI will play a central role in transforming customer experiences and operational models alike. But of course, the bigger question is, what step will you and your organisation take to harness the potential of generative AI? How are you going to navigate this journey ahead? It is complex. It's probably something you can't do on your own. You're going to need a little help. You're going to need those strategic partnerships. But please, I invite you to share your thoughts. Join this conversation. I want us all to explore the limitless possibilities of this AI-driven future. I think we can all accept it's not going anywhere now. None of us have got the answers on our own. But together, if we could pool our resources, put all of our ideas, concerns, and everything in between, put them in a big melting pot, man, we could learn so much from each other. So as always, email me, techblogwriter@outlook.com, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram @NeilCHughes. Let's keep this conversation going. And I've got another great guest lined up tomorrow. I feel very fortunate at the moment to have had so many great guests. And we've had people from Microsoft, from Intel, BAE, KPMG, Couchbase, Twilio. They're just a few that I've been speaking to this week. And if you'd like to come on the podcast, please let me know. We do have a bit of a backlog of about 6 weeks to get on the show, but if you'd like to join me, let me know. But that's it for today. So thank you for listening as always. And until next time, don't be a stranger.